What's up, guys? This is Justin. There's Vinny and Greg. We are back. This is episode 22 of Baseball and Whatever. We have an awesome special guest. I think I pestered him enough on Twitter to get him to come on. We have Jake Hahn from SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio. I think between the three of us, me, Vinny, and Greg, I'm probably the biggest hockey fan here. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
As I'm sitting here in front of all my hockey memorabilia, my first stick, all this, junk behind me.
Although, Justin, I will say that now I do have an XM radio as part of my free trial now, so now I can tune in and listen for the first time.
So, Jake, I've been praising you guys. Gosh, I think my first job I got was in 2010. I bought my first car and I got XM, and I've been listening to XM NHL radio since then. So. I don't know. I think what year did you start at XM? Do you remember?
It would have been, I actually got an internship there right out of school. So it would have been around 2013.
Okay.
Is when I started there. So it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. And I got to say too, I like the backdrops for all you guys. You got a Bears backdrop, we got a White Sox backdrop, and you got the Blackhawks covered. So you guys got everything covered here. I love it.
Besides the Sox, I don't know. The Bears are another story.
We try and look good if we don't sound good.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
looking good part of it. So
we
have it covered.
Make it till you, or fake it till you make it, right? So, we were looking up. Jake's going to come on. He's going to talk about the Blue Jays. It was kind of cool to get a different perspective. Obviously, we're always focusing on the AL Central and the NL Central. We don't really see a lot of the AL East. So, talking the Blue Jays, and then he was nice enough. We all made lists. We were going to count down our top 5 sports movies, which should be pretty good. I have a feeling that we might disagree, agree, maybe get into a little debate about that. But before we do any of that, we do have a few listener comments. People are actually listening to us, which is exciting. And it's not just our parents, which is really nice. So, Greg, would you like to read those real quick before we get started?
Well, we can't get started without mentioning the parents first because they are still listening.
True.
So we have some moms checking in, Robin on Facebook,
My mom.
one of our regulars. Great podcast, guys. Love your movie picks from the sequel episode. Keep up the talk. We love listening.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, Rob. Robin's always so positive.
Yep. She is. What can I say? That's my mom.
Oh, my man, Jack Lugo on Twitter chimes in. The guys from Baseball and Whatever bash my Mets in their latest episode, but they're not necessarily wrong, though. Also enjoyed the Seinfeld rankings. Yeah. Had fun listening to you guys. I'm still hoping the Mets continue to bounce back, though. That's my man, Jack Lugo. Speaking of positivity, he's not giving up on his team.
No, and they're like 8-2 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, I think they won today.
We call that the
I think they're at like
whatever
500 right now, or a game above 500 or something like that.
Yeah.
So
we'll see what happens.
See. Fingers crossed for you. We love you, Jack. So hope that works out for the Mets. Not really, but Leafeon on Discord. What the hell is Leafeon? Is that a Pokemon?
I believe it is.
I've heard of Flareon, and
see, that's like from when we were kids. I think
Volteon or something.
This might be a new one. We're out of touch. We're not.
So I'm guessing
anymore.
I'm guessing he has the leaf or the green powers on the card.
He might
probably.
So.
All right, Leafeon on Discord. Listening to the podcast was really great time. Oh, thank you. Loved it a lot. And as a Yankee fan from New York, hearing a Chicago perspective on all the shenanigans with the Mets was just great. Oh, don't thank us yet, Leafeon. We still haven't gotten to the Yankees yet. So
yeah, we'll be talking about them tonight, I'm sure.
But anyway, Mr. Leafeon, Pokemon Pikachu guy, thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. Oh, another guy, our man, glucosamine, chondroitin, Dr. Condom checks in on YouTube. Just yesterday, I saw an interview with Joey Votto comparing baseball with Seinfeld. And now this episode, awesome. What can I say? Power of the podcast, Dr. Condom. So thank you for checking in as always. Quick shout out to, or do you want to give the shout out to the fellow Tim, Vinny?
Yeah, Tim Connors, my old speech teacher from high school. Fun class. He's probably Freeport, Illinois' biggest Cubs fan. Also participated. I didn't read it, the wrong answer, but he participated on Twitter with the "that guy cover," whatever you call
the trivia question. Yeah.
Yes, the trivia question. He had an incorrect guess, but we'll still say it was Ronaldo Torres. Was his guess.
Ronaldo Torres? Yeah, he was on the Cubs for like what? Did he play a game with the Cubs?
I don't think he did.
I don't know.
I think he got. I think he might have gotten traded. He was like a sign and trade, I think, or something like that.
Greg, you're better at that stuff than we are.
Good guess though. I forgot about that, Mr. Connors. So no, solid guess. Of course, the answer was Brent Lillibridge. Of course.
Yep.
All the answers to these questions are usually pretty bad players. That's why that's why it's fun. That's why it's fun. Bad players are fun. So last comment, Maji on Facebook writes in, went to see the last game the Blue Jays played at Solon Field in Buffalo this year before they were allowed back into Canada. The Blue Jays added many improvements, which will be appreciated by Buffalo Bison's team and fans. Class act. And they donated money. Shout out to you, Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Picked up the little guy.
I feel like in Chicago, we did not hear that story at all, being in the middle of the country. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And
really
the Cubs
cool.
and Sox didn't do that with their, facilities. They didn't even flush the toilets there.
No, you kidding? The Cubs are still crying poor that they have no money. But
exactly.
So I figured that was a good way to segue in to the Blue Jays, and that's why we have Jake here. So Jake, I guess, obviously we can start with Greg has been following Jake Lamb. I think that might be one of his favorite former White Sox.
Perfect.
Number 23.
Can you give us an update on him?
Yes.
Is he alive still?
He is alive. I think he actually pinch hit at some point tonight. He's kind of been used as that lefty pinch hitter off the bench, and he'll play the odd game. So he is versatile, though. Plays a little bit in the infield, plays the outfield. So he's just kind of one of those utility bench guys. I think at this point, I don't mind him so far. I don't think he's done anything spectacular to earn like a full-time spot role on the team or anything like that, but a utility guy, somebody that you can throw in there against a right-hander late in the game if you need to pinch hit for somebody. So he's working. He is still alive. He does still have a pulse. I can confirm that.
He's collecting a paycheck still at this point.
Yes,
so that's
well, that's interesting. That's kind of like for the Sox, that lefty veteran bat off the bench, and he can still draw he can still draw the walk if he needs to. I know he had a pretty good walk ratio, if not necessarily on base or batting average, but hopefully he can do something for you guys. He just wasn't working out over here for the White Sox. But all the best to him. Hopefully the Blue Jays can sneak their way into the wild card right here, because they're really close. So.
We would love to, I know we talked about this on previous episodes. We would love to see the Blue Jays knock out either the Red Sox or the Yankees, take the division, take the wild card. Or both. If they could somehow just take both of them out at the same time, I don't know how that would be possible.
Give us Seattle in the wild card or Oakland or something. Yep. I'll take that. Would be the preferred option. Although it would be fun to beat one of those teams in a wild card game, do it in Yankee Stadium, do it at Fenway Park. I think there'd be something probably a little extra special to that. But you guys can actually help us out a little this weekend. I think it's Sox this weekend, the White Sox versus the Red Sox. So if you guys want to win all of those games, couple of those games, I'm not going to stop you. So
we can beat up on those East Coast fools. We will try, but no promises, because the hitting is just who knows.
Not there.
Yeah, it's hit or miss. I guess to start this Blue Jays talk though, before we get to the movies, Jake, how did you get into baseball? Obviously, I know you work for a hockey station. Big Maple Leafs. I know we've talked about that in the past, but was there a certain young Blue Jays team that you really got into? I remember growing up, it was it, I'm going to mispronounce it. Was it Pat Hetkin was their pitcher?
Hetkin, yeah.
Hetkin. And Roberto Alomar, I think I had the little starting line action figure of him on the Blue Jays, but is there a certain team that kind of you gravitated to as a kid that really got you going for the Blue Jays?
Well, so for me, I ended up at the hockey station. I've been doing, hockey for, like I said, since 2013, basically, but I grew up playing every sport, watching every sport. And baseball, to be honest, was probably one of my favorite sports growing up, still is one of my favorite sports. And it was, for me, baseball in the summertime, a little bit of lacrosse, and then hockey in the wintertime. That was just kind of how I grew up. So I'd always flip-flop with what my favorite sport was, because wintertime it would be hockey. I'd be into the Maple Leafs and the NHL, and then summertime rolls around and it would be Blue Jays and baseball for me, right? So I would come down to Toronto, I would go to games. That's sort of how I became a Jays fan. I really had no other choice. It's through the family. you become a fan. It's just kind of the local team. So I've always played baseball. I've always loved baseball, and that's kind of where the passion comes from. And my earliest memories in terms of teams, I guess thinking back to favorite players, early players, Roy Halladay was my favorite player growing up. That was my guy. I had a Halladay jersey. I still have a Halladay jersey that I wear to games basically every time that I go. That thing's been used, trust me. And so obviously, I was sad when he passed away and everything that happened with the plane crash. But there were some bad Jays teams there for years, guys. And I know I'm sure you guys have cheered for bad teams at times, maybe still cheer for some bad teams. Yep. But going to Roy Halladay games was just special. Like you knew if you had a ticket to that game, you actually had a chance to win. The game was going to be quick because he would pitch. It would be over in like 2 hours, 2.5 hours at the most. And I just have fond memories of going to those games, even though the team wasn't great. And it's been fun the last 5-10 years or so. The Jays have had some competitive teams and had a sniff at the playoffs a couple times, made the ALCS a couple times as well. But yeah, that's kind of where it came from. But when I was a kid, it was pretty bad baseball. They didn't really have too much going on back then.
I was going to say that would have probably been like, gosh, I think I would have been in high school. Was that like the Vernon Wells years, maybe?
Yeah,
like
Vernon Wells, Troy Glass, Shea Hillenbrand,
Frank Catalinato was
Catalinato,
yeah,
Orlando Hudson, the O-Dog. That was
jeez.
That would have been was that around the time when they switched to the all black, like the Tron looking numbers on their uniforms?
We had some really ugly logos, and it's unfortunate because the early 90s, late 80s Jays logos are unbelievable.
They're awesome.
I love those. And I was just late to the World Series party. Like I was like 1 year old when the first World Series and then the second World Series happened. So my parents have fond memories of those, and that's kind of something that everybody talks about here. But I was a little late to the party, and then I got the teams that we just talked about that weren't so great, and the jerseys that weren't so great.
I think I have a black Jays T-shirt. There's I think I have an Alex Rio shirt if I'm not mistaken, but it was the black Tron Jays shirt or whatever.
Also a former White Sox, right?
Going on. Also a White Sox. Yep.
Oh man, what like in terms of I know Toronto's hockey crazy with the Leafs, like. How are the Blue Jays kind of like perceived? Like, are they, is it like, oh, we'll wait until hockey season's over and then we'll care about them? Or is it something that they're kind of always in the media? Like, I'm kind of curious as, a Toronto native, I'm not a native, but someone who lives in Toronto at this point, like, what is the media outlook on the Jays? Like, are people excited? Are they more focused on hockey season coming up? Like, what's that like up there?
It's very much a bandwagon team. So when they're good, and I mean, they were really good for a couple of years there, making the ALCS, sniffing, a chance at even going to the World Series. It was the biggest thing in town. It's all anybody could talk about. It's all anybody wanted to watch. And it was huge in terms of media coverage as well. But when the team's bad, nobody really cares. Nobody watches the games. And if you go to a game on a Wednesday, Thursday night in the middle of summer, you can't find anybody with a search party. Like that dome is just empty. It's a big, big dome. Like you can put a lot of people in there. And when it's packed, and I've been to a bunch of playoff games, lucky enough to go to a few when they were on those runs. It's one of the best places that I can think that I've ever been at a sporting event. Like it's just crazy how loud that building can get and how passionate the fans can get behind a winner. And that's kind of Toronto in general. They'll get behind a winner, but at the same time, they're not really going to show up for the lean years. I'll still be there sitting in the crowd with 10,000 people watching those games and getting some cheap tickets. But it's very much a bandwagon town in terms of the Jays. And right now, trying to sniff down a wild card spot, you get the sense that the people are kind of jumping on. I'm getting texts from people that wouldn't normally be following the Jays or watching baseball, and that's when I know the Jays are good, because I'm getting texts from those kind of people.
Sounds kind of like the White Sox, Greg, a little bit. Usually, the Chicago media gets really excited when they're doing well, but otherwise they play second fiddle to the Cubs, don't you think? To a certain extent. Typically,
yeah, and they're better right now, and they're still no one going.
People are still more concerned about the Cubs.
I'm not there.
Yeah,
so.
No. I went to a game there once actually. We try to do baseball trips every once in a while in the summer. So we did Wrigley. We did. I think is it U.S. Cellular still? Is it still
guaranteed rate?
Guaranteed rate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a bit behind on the sponsor names, but
that's all right.
I did get to go to a game. There was a lot of fun. It was actually a Jays game too. It just worked out.
Oh,
we were there at the time that they were playing the Jays. So I got to see Brett Lowry hit an inside the park home run and an outside of the park home run in the same game, which was kind of funny.
What team was he playing
for? The White Sox.
He was playing for the White Sox because he was he was a Jay before that, or Athletic before that, I think. So
yeah, it was a revenge home runs against us.
Well, now I got to ask, because you've been to both. What did you prefer more? Did you prefer guaranteed rate where the Sox play, or do you prefer Wrigley, or are you indifferent? Or I got to put you on the spot here.
It's got to be Wrigley. I mean, that place is just legendary. But I did like guaranteed rate. I had a good time at the game. Maybe my perception's a bit different, because when we did go to the game, it was like 40 degrees, and I couldn't even breathe. Like it was just disgusting in terms of the heat. A couple of my buddies that I was with, like, couldn't even sit in the seats anymore. So it was just one of those really, really hot days. And when we went to Wrigley and we saw the Cubs, it was just a beautiful day at the ballpark. I think it was a day game on a Wednesday, because they play some of those sort of getaway games against the Cardinals, and it was just a blast. So yeah, I got to go with Wrigley, but I enjoyed the experience overall.
I feel like Wrigley's got that, like, it's a dump, and it's a dump, but it's like a historic dump, where like the White Sox Park. Like when you go there, like, and I know we've gone to games with Greg because he's such a big Sox fan. It's just so nice, like being able to move around and get things easily, and you can get to the concourse easier. Where in Wrigley, especially when it's like a sellout, it's a nightmare going down into the concourse. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from. Yeah, I don't know, Greg, you're not a Wrigley fan, I know, right?
It's a nightmare when the ballpark's empty. That's just me. That's just me, though. So
you sound like Hulk Harrelson.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I know. A little bit of Hog. Yeah.
Yeah. You're channeling him. I almost said you're channeling from beyond the grave, but he's not dead. I guess, okay. So I guess we can kind of talk about the division race right now. So, I mean, like, Jake, where do you see this going? And obviously, Vinny, Greg, if you have any input on the Sox, the Red Sox, or the Yankees, or the Rays, like, Jake, where do you think the Rays end up? Do you think they can catch? Can the Jays catch the Rays? Can they just catch the Yankees and the Red Sox? Like, what are you aiming for as a fan, I should say?
Yeah, wild card all the way. I think from even the start of the season, talking to people, trying to make predictions, I was pretty convinced that the Rays were going to win the division. And I think that they've showed over the course of the season that they are the best team. They are the most complete team in the division. So I'll tip my cap to Tampa and say, well played on the season. It looks like they're probably going to run away with the division at this point. And in my opinion, the way that the Jays have looked the past couple of months, and some of the moves that they made before the deadline, shoring up the roster, I think they're probably one of the more talented teams in the American League right now. It's just they need to get in, and you need to find that spot. And as we all know, it's difficult to make the playoffs in baseball. And you work so hard, you try to hunt down this wild card spot, and all you get for it is a wild card game and a chance to win one game, and you could lose that game, and then it's really all for naught. So it feels like a lot of effort that you put in for not a whole lot of a reward, and then all of a sudden that game becomes really, really important. But I'm just enjoying some September baseball, because they built this team up. We stayed patient for a couple of years, bringing up some of these young guys, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero. It's just an exciting team. It's a really fun team to watch. And whether we make it or we don't make it, or we lose in the wild card game, I am just happy to sit back in September and have some meaningful games against the Yankees. And, the schedule is actually really heavy towards the end of the season with Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Baltimore. We get Baltimore a lot, which is probably a good thing. Minnesota is probably not a bad thing either. And those games against Tampa will obviously be pretty difficult. But yeah, right now as a fan, I'm just eyes on that wild card spot, hoping to hunt something down, so we get something to cheer for late in September, early October.
Oh gosh, what I wouldn't kill for meaningful games right now. But anyway, I digress. Greg, go ahead.
Jake, I was also going to say that I think it's really, because right around when the trade deadline was happening, I think it's really cool, because I think the Jays were even maybe in a worse spot, around the trade deadline as far as a postseason push. Sure. And they didn't sell off. They didn't trade Simeon. They actually were buyers, because, they signed, Springer. Yeah, they had Guerrero going. I mean, the young, they had Biggio and Bichette. I mean, they had a lot of pieces going to make a run at this, and they didn't kind of give up their plan. They could have easily, they had Simeon on a 1 year. They could have easily flipped him for something and just called it a season. But no, I think they got Brad Hand, boosted the bullpen a little bit. Jose Barrios, obviously, for the starting rotation. They're like, look, I know we're a little bit behind in the division right now, but they never gave up their hopes, and they bought in at the deadline, and they made a push, and it looks like right now that it's really working out for them. So, because they are really close. So
I think a lot of people around here didn't like it at the time, at least, trying to talk. Yeah, they will, not necessarily thinking that they needed to sell off, but just saying you don't need to really go all in. This isn't the year. You don't have the team. Wild card's probably your best chance. And some of that might be right. I mean, is looking like the wild card's probably the only path for the Jays at this point, but I think you have a good team. You go for it. You got some good young pieces. You try to put something together. And if they do get in, I think if they win that wild card game, assuming they make the wild card game, they become a really dangerous team all of a sudden. If you're looking at the 4 teams that are in, if it's the Jays, White Sox, Astros, and Rays as the 4 teams, you could decide for yourself where you want to rank the Jays out of those 4 teams. But I think they're very capable of really beating any of those teams. I think Tampa probably scares me the most out of the other 3, but I think they're a very legit team. So it's just kind of at the point where you got to find a way to get in and then see what happens.
Jeez, do you think there's a chance Vlad Jr. edges out Ohtani for the AL MVP?
I don't think so. I don't think he should, to be completely honest, as much of a Jays fan as I am. And I love Vlad. I really enjoy. He had another home run right before I came on. It's just like he does it almost every single night. I think what Ohtani's done is just special, right? To be able to do what he's doing at the plate. Yeah, to be able to pitch the way that he's pitching as well at the same time. I just think that's something we just haven't seen in professional baseball before. So, or at least in a long time. So I'm happy to give it to Ohtani and maybe it can be Vlad's next year, but a good race between the two for quite some time. But I just think unless Vlad wants to start pitching a couple games down the stretch, then I think Ohtani's going to get that.
Yeah, no, he's without a doubt, Vlad Jr. is having an MVP winning season. It's just, I mean, Ohtani, like you said, Jake, Ohtani's doing things that we haven't seen before. And it's just kind of like the clear number 1 choice right now. I completely agree with you. But no, and nothing short of what Guerrero's doing for the Jays right now.
Yeah, it's insane. He seems like such a nice guy. Like just from any of the stuff you see on the field, I know he has had some interactions with like Trey Mancini at the All-Star game and stuff with that. And I don't know, maybe I'm a sucker for like people that seem nice, but like you want the team to do so much better.
It's that Midwest hospitality.
Yeah. There you go. I want to like these guys. I want them to do well. And, and obviously when they kind of show off their personality a little bit, I feel like that's one of the cool things with the Blue Jays is they have so much personality, at least from afar. That's what it seems like. I don't know if that's the case, when you're watching them day to day, but Vinny and I have talked about a ton, like, bringing up the minor league system. And I feel like the Blue Jays have kind of done that right. I mean, Vinny, if you could take one guy from that Blue Jays system that came up, would you take Vlad? Would you go with Bichette? I'm still hoping out that Biggio's kid is going to end up turning into something because I was such a big Craig Biggio fan as a kid. I don't know if he is, but
we watched all their dads play.
Yeah,
and now we're watching their kids play.
It's really we've hit that point now where all the guys we grew up watching are in the Hall of Fame, and it's really depressing. It's really depressing. But yeah, Vinny, who would you obviously in an ideal world if the Cubs had one of those guys in the farm system, like what type of player would you aspire for the Cubs to have if you could pick one of those kinds of styles of players?
Since they got a bunch of guys that can't barely hit out the infield with Nico and Nicky, I got to go Vlad, right?
Yeah,
got to get somebody to muscle him in.
I mean, he's just so
but
good.
They can't afford him either.
No,
once his years are up, his service time's up, they wouldn't be able to afford him. They'd have to trade him.
Yeah, it would be very quickly a very quick change. All right, we do have one listener question, Jake, and knowing that you're the hockey guy, this one of our friends, Chris, wrote in, who will win a championship first, the Blue Jays or the Maple Leafs?
Oh boy. Well, I gotta go with the Jays.
Oh wow!
You can't
I did not expect that.
Yeah, you can't pick the Leafs with anything related to a championship right now, based on what we've seen ever since I've been alive. My dad actually is probably the biggest Leaf fan you'll meet, and I'm sure a lot of people would say that about friends or family or people that they grew up with that are fans of a certain team. But he's nuts about the Leafs, and I would love to see them win because it's been so long for him. I think he was like 16 the last time that they won a Stanley Cup, so I would obviously love to see it for him, but I can't get there. I got to go with the Jays just because, they both have talented teams right now. They really do. The Jays are talented. They're young. The Leafs are talented. They're young. I just see a path more for this Blue Jays team. Sure. And I think they've assembled a really nice core of young players here. And I feel like they're going to be good for the next 3, 4, 5 years. So they're going to have some chances at it. It's obviously hard to get over that hump and ultimately win, but I think they're set up for it. Whereas in the NHL and hockey, it's difficult in the salary cap world.
Sure.
And I think that the Leafs are so pressed up against the salary cap. They paid all of those young players so much money that things have been kind of difficult for them to try to piece together the rest of the roster. And you need depth to win in the playoffs when it comes to hockey. And we've seen some early exits for the Leafs. You also factor in that they play in the craziest division in the NHL right now.
Oh, yeah.
Where Tampa's in there, Boston's in there, Florida's in there, Montreal you could throw in there, who just made the Stanley Cup final. So stacked division. I don't see it for the Leafs, but I do see a possibility for the Jays here.
Oh man, someday, one of these days they're going to win. And I guess I don't know. And maybe we can speak to this a little bit is obviously, like you said, it's the Jays are kind of up and coming. They have this, 4 to 5 year window. Being a Cubs fan, that window closes really fast. So I guess my advice, and Vinny, I'm sure you can attest to this too, is like enjoy the ride because, we were told, I shouldn't say we were told, I don't know any of the people in Cubs management, but they kept preaching.
Theo told us.
Theo Epstein told us that, it was going to be multiple championships and this is an extended period of time. And then, you look back and it's like, well, 2016 was 5 years ago and this team is garbage now. So, enjoy the ride. It's always exciting to see a team that's kind of, they've kind of wavered up and down and now they're skyrocketing up. So I guess, Vinny, Greg, you got any other Blue Jays stuff you want to discuss before we jump into the movies?
I wanted to ask Jake if were you at the 05 game 5 with the epic bat flip? That was in Toronto, right?
The Bautista game. It was unbelievable.
Were you at the game?
Yeah. I was at basically every playoff game for those runs. And that's actually funny what Justin was saying too, like how quickly that window closes. And it happened. It happened for the Cubs, and that Cubs World Series, that whole series with Cleveland is probably my favorite series in sports that I can remember. Like that 7-game series, I still watch the highlights from Game 7 like once a year, just because that was such a wild game for both sides. But yeah, I was at that playoff game. I was at all of those, or most of those playoff games at least, and it was a fun ride. The atmosphere surrounding the team and in that building was just crazy. But like Justin said, the window closes so quickly. You make a couple ALCS and you just think, okay, it's going to happen for us. We're going to have our year. Then all of a sudden the players get old, a couple players leave, and then the window's shut and you're kind of left thinking, oh, well, what do we do now? We kind of suck now. So I'm glad they've been able to build it up relatively quickly. But we thought we were set up for years of success there as well.
Oh man. All right. Well, enough commiserating. I'm getting depressed now thinking about the Cubs window slamming shut again. But
at least you guys got the win. That's at least you guys got the win. Nice.
We got one. What was the motto? All the people were saying, "Oh, I can die happy now." That was, all the elderly people that hung on for a Cubs win. So, all right. Let's get into our top 5 sports movies. So the way that this will work is we're going to just go one by one. We can start with Jake. He can be our guest of honor. Well, tell us what your number is. We'll count down closer to 1. If there's anything in particular about the movie, quotes, scenes that you liked, let us know. And then what do you think, guys? If we have one on our list that someone else says, do you want to just wait until we get to that for our list? I think we did that last time with the Seinfeld.
Yeah, I think that works out.
Pretty good. All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So, I don't think we didn't really have any stipulations. It's just as long as it had sports in the movie somewhere, that was our recommendation. So, Jake, what is your number 5 favorite sports movie of all time?
Well, we are doing baseball here, so I'll start with a baseball movie at number 5. I'm going to go with Bull Durham at number 5
all right.
for me. I love Bull Durham, and my list kind of goes with like rewatchability movies that I can kind of rewatch all the time. Maybe not necessarily the best movies, but like popcorn movies that I really enjoy. And I love Bull Durham. I can watch Bull Durham is one of those movies I like to throw on before the baseball season, kind of get me ready for baseball. One of a couple movies I like. So I got Bull Durham here at number 5.
I will admit, I only have seen that movie once. I feel like a bad baseball.
I haven't seen it at all.
Really?
I haven't seen it in a while. So I mean, maybe we all.
I haven't seen a lot of adult
build
sports
Bull
movies.
Durham.
Yeah, I think we need to do a screening of that.
I know Melissa and Gina wrote in. We had a Facebook post on our Facebook page saying, what are some sports movies? And they 100% agreed that Bull Durham was one of their favorite sports movies. I mean, you got Kevin Costner playing, was it Crash Davis, right?
Crash Davis. Right? Yep. Yeah,
I mean,
Tim Robbins,
Susan Sarandon.
Yep. Yeah, it's a superstar cast. I mean, was it mid 80s, late 80s? I want to say.
I think late 80s. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's got that 80s vibe. I mean, yeah, Kevin Costner. I feel like when it comes to sports, he can do no wrong. Like he's just whether it's Tin Cup or I Feel the Dreams. Like, he's rocking. So yeah.
I don't know about Draft Day, but
Draft Day was good. I liked Draft Day.
I didn't even see Draft Day.
On Justin's list.
Of course, no. Hold on. I got to edit my list now. Hold on.
Yeah. No. There's no problem. There's no problem with Draft Day. Draft Day is perfectly fine.
He gets the draft pick he wanted all along. How great is that?
Yeah, Vontae Mack, no matter what, right?
Yes.
After all that, come
all
on.
That.
What's wrong with Bo Callahan?
Greg bringing the heat here. Let's go to Greg. Greg, what is your number 5 sports movie of all time?
Well, like you, Justin, I had trouble with number 5 right here, but I'm gonna give it to The Natural. I always enjoyed that movie as a kid. Now as an adult, Robert Redford, I could take all day long. I mean, it's pretty calm. It's a pretty mellow. It's a very slow drama movie, but it's got classic baseball. And for me, the obviously the musical score at the end when he hits the home runs into the lights and they're all bursting. I mean, how iconic is that? When he does it with Bobby Savoy's bat after Wonder Boy breaks. But the real winner in the movie for me is Wilford Brimley as Pop Fisher, the manager. He is just great character. He is just so much fun. So just a good, like you said, Jake, rewatchability for me. It's not really a comedy. It's just kind of a harmless, fun baseball movie with great acting that I thoroughly enjoy. And I picked that because anytime it's on. Kind of when you see a movie on TV, and MLB Network has it all the time as one of the 5 subscribers to MLB Network nationwide. They play it frequently, and if it's on, I'll stick it out. Wherever it is, I'll finish it out because I do enjoy watching it a lot. So
good choice.
Never seen that one.
Oh man, Vinny.
Yeah,
that's a class. I've even seen that one. That's how you know.
What's going to be on Vinny's list?
I don't know.
Is he going to list some Bond movies? Because then I'm going to feel like
it's going to be Mighty Ducks 1, 2, and 3.
We could do Bond rankings too.
Bond.
Yeah.
Jake, don't give Greg any ideas.
Well, I guess technically you could say Casino Royale. Poker is technically a sport. Yeah. So
For Your Eyes Only
could have been on there.
Roger Moore, For Your Eyes Only did feature a hockey scene. So.
Don't they golf? Really? Don't they go golfing in one of the early ones?
Goldfinger,
Goldfinger is a Goldfinger.
So,
yeah.
Yep. Very good,
man.
Jake. Jake's solid.
Jake's going to end up on Greg's Bond book, I think at some point now.
I think he is. He and I are going to talk. So,
Vinny, what's your number 5?
Number 5 is a baseball movie. It's The Sandlot.
Oh, good. Good
love
it.
Solid.
Yep, love that.
That's a great movie. I love Dennis Leary in that movie. I don't know why, but yeah.
I keep
very short role in that.
Stepdad.
Yes.
Yeah, I keep.
Yeah. Throws the curve and hits him right in the face.
Yeah.
The meat always looks really good.
That's the meat that they put on the kid's face. Yeah.
Small face. Yeah.
I love that movie. The one thing that always bothers me is the hat that he wears in the beginning of. I think it's got like
the fishing hat.
And
it's a fishing cap.
The bill is so long. That's so obnoxiously long. I've never seen anything like that.
That's a fishing hat.
Is that really a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay. Well, still.
It has purpose, Justin. It has purpose in the world.
I like my bills a certain length, and that violated that. So, no, that's a great movie. I feel like there's so much more to say. You got Squints, you got Wendy Peppercorn. I can't remember now. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I think he had right the first one.
The music is so good too. That late '60s music is excellent in that movie. All right. I'm going to be honest. I just picked my number 5 because I've been trying to figure this out all day. My number 5, and I think Jake is what sold me on this movie, but his idea of rewatchability is what got this to number 5. Anytime this movie is on, I will sit there and watch it. And that is A League of Their Own. I love that movie. I don't know why.
Oh, good one.
Yeah. It's, I don't know if it's the fact that you can, obviously some of it was filmed at Wrigley. That whole old timey, the guy, the score is 3-2. And, that was my impression of old timey thing. My impressions are horrible. But just that mindset. I love Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is awesome. As Jimmy Fox. Just that mentality of, having your sister on the other team. And are you going to are you going to help her out and sacrifice what your team's doing? Or are you going to, that whole mindset? I just love that movie. It's a great movie. It's kind of cool to have the historical aspect of, the National Women's Professional Baseball League. So that's I
almost put that on my number 5, Justin. That's a solid one there. Yeah.
Well,
it was on my list.
It was really popular on the Facebook.
It was,
right
yes.
there, because Lynn, Robin, Melissa, Erica, Maggie, and Mike Lynch all had it on their
they all
on their
did.
list. So
yeah.
Good call.
That was a ton. And then Sandlot was Melissa, Christy, Erica, and Kat. They also agreed with that one, Vinny. So, all right, let's get to number 4 for Jake. Jake, what do you got for us for number 4?
Well, there's a theme to my list, I guess, already. And it's funny, when I brought up the last one, Bull Durham, you mentioned this movie as another Kevin Costner movie. I didn't even really mean to do this. I just kind of made my top 5, and then I realized afterwards I have 2 Kevin Costner movies in here. But I got Tin Cup at number 4. Nice. I love Tin Cup. I'm a big golf guy. I don't know if any of you guys are big golf guys at all, but love golf, play a lot of golf, watch a lot of golf. And it's just kind of one of those fun movies. His character is so fun in this. And I could have put a few golf movies on it, on this list, but I love Tin Cup. And it's just fun. Obviously the end scene where he hits like every ball into the water, trying to come home there at the end. He's a great character in that movie. So Tin Cup for me at number 4.
That is one, like, I remember one of my grandfathers gave me a set of golf clubs that he never used. So I still have them sitting in my basement. I have never gone golfing in my life. I've gone to the driving range. I'm awful at mini golf. I've always wanted to go golfing, but that is one sport I'd love to try. I mean, I know it's good exercise walking around.
We'll have to go, Justin.
Let's do it, Vinny. Let's do it. Next time I'm up in golf trip. Next time I'm up in Wisconsin. We'll
go to par 3 in Edgerton.
Sounds good to me.
Well, I think too with Tin Cup, the one thing that draws me to it so much is the fact that he's not a professional golfer. He's just like this small town guy. I think he's in Texas and he qualifies for the US Open. And you kind of dream of that as somebody that plays like decent level of golf. You're not good enough to compete with those pros, but you're like, oh, what if one summer it just clicked for me and I qualified for the US Open or something like that. That's kind of why I think I like the movie so much growing up, because you still always have that dream in the back of your mind. It's that one sport that you feel like you could still go pro in when you're like 35, 40 years old, even though you most likely aren't going to, but the ship sails pretty early on hockey and baseball and basketball and all those sports. But golf, you always feel like I could throw a few things together, maybe still put something together here.
Well, I've gotten really good at Mario Golf this summer, being off for summer vacation. So I mean, I figure it's got to translate.
That's half the battle.
I know my club names at least, so I can see Vinny's going to kill me if he goes golfing with me. I can see it already.
Nope, it's fine.
Okay,
I'm not a good golfer. I'm not very serious either about it. So,
all right, well, that's good. Well, I'm glad you brought up Tin Cup, Jake. We actually not a single person mentioned that, so I'm glad. It's kind of cool to get one that is kind of little flying under the radar a little bit. That's a good pick.
The rest of my list is generic, so it's good I got this one out of the way.
That's perfectly fine. Greg, what about you for number 4?
4 for me is Moneyball. I am not, and I've kind of bashed Billy Bean, kind of like for what he does with the Oakland. I'm just not a Billy Bean guy. I like the performance from Brad Pitt. I mean, incredible acting in that movie, and I think it really made the understanding of baseball scouting or modernized baseball scouting, familiar with a lot of with an audience, especially on how they that's kind of the Oakland A's, one of the lowest payroll franchises. And that's interesting, the way what they came up with to say, because they couldn't afford players, that's kind of become the way, everyone says we apply Moneyball now to the way we approach it. And like, that's not necessarily true. You apply the scouting techniques, but you're still paying. You're still, rich. You're all rich organizations or something like that. You haven't necessarily tried. I mean, they do save money, but they don't necessarily need to. I mean, the Oakland A's really got nothing. At least they didn't do then. That movie did conveniently leave out the 3 mega starting pitchers.
That's what I was going to mention. Yes,
Tim Hudson, Mark Mulder, and Barry Zito. But it was, for what it was, I think it was really well done. Jonah Hill, Brad Pitt,
the movie.
Jonah Hill was absolutely fantastic in that movie, especially up to that point, not really having a super serious role in Hollywood. But I will say, I think the best scene of that movie is towards the end when Brad Pitt, when Billy Bean meets up with John Henry at Fenway, played by Private Cowboy, and their conversation right there, I think, just kind of lays out what the movie's really trying to portray, and how the dinosaurs of baseball are trying to keep this way of this new age of scouting and player recognition away from the game. So I think that was an incredibly acted scene. I think it's the best scene of the movie. But overall, I think it's a good watch, and a lot of fun, really, in my opinion.
My favorite scene in that movie is when I think he introduces Jonah Hill's character, and he's sitting in the room with all the scouts, and
you can feel
he's throwing all those magnet names on the whiteboard, and he's like, why do we want this guy? And he points to Jonah Hill, and he's like, because they get on base, and then that's just the whole thing over and over again.
Just introducing that stat that no one ever paid attention to. Now it's all we pay attention to,
on
really,
base
when we're looking
percentage,
at players. So it's part of these slash lines now. So I kind of like how that kind of, for the person not really paying attention to the stats, kind of, gave him an intro to the understanding of the way players are kind of looked at now when they're evaluated. So
do you guys remember, it's been a while since I've read the actual Moneyball book. I want to say they went more into the pitching in Moneyball, the book, right? Did they actually go into the pitching at all, or was it strictly the offensive approach? Do you guys remember? I don't remember at all.
Never read the book.
Never. I mean, it was a really good book. I really enjoyed it.
The book was very different from the movie.
Yes.
That's all I remember reading the book well before the movie came out. And then when I heard they were making a movie, I thought, they're going to make a movie out of that book. It just felt like there wasn't really a movie there.
No.
And Brad Pitt's going to be in it. Okay. Like what's going on here? And then the movie ended up being awesome. So it just was very different from the book, but in a good way. I thought they did a great job with it.
Yeah, no, that's a great pick, Greg. Nice job. Vinny, your number 4.
Number 4, Cool Runnings.
Whoa.
Oh, yes. And I think of Cool Runnings.
How did I forget that one?
Love that movie as a kid. I think I watched that probably every summer at least 10 times growing up. John Candy's absolutely fantastic.
Yes, he's the best.
Fantastic in it. And Dougie Doug as Sanka is just great. He's probably the second best character in that. But I absolutely love that. I think Gretchen and I watched that last year, and it still holds up. It's a great movie. Just a fantastic Disney movie.
What are you going to do about the Jamaica?
Right?
No, that's like you said, John Candy is awesome. And I think it's kind of cool because, I mean, in the last, 2 or 3 Olympics, we've seen some athletes at least make the attempt to go from summer and winter Olympics back and forth. I mean, with differing levels of success, but that idea is just so cool. And the fact that a country like Jamaica would do the bobsled is that's a great pick. I will admit that didn't even cross my mind. I don't know. I feel kind of embarrassed.
Sorry, Justin.
That's all right.
I'm sorry to embarrass you.
You embarrassed me on our podcast that so many people will listen to. All right, my number 4. I think this is growing up in the Chicago suburbs, being a Bulls fan. My number 4 is Space Jam. That is still a movie. I'm 34. If that movie is on TV, I will sit and watch it the entire duration that it is on. The music, the less said about R. Kelly these days, probably the better. But the other music is really good. I mean, that movie, that
soundtrack was great. I had that excellent. As a kid.
I had the cassette tape.
So did I. Yep. Played it all the time.
It was a great movie. I mean, that's when the NBA was like, I was all in on the NBA, and I still watch it occasionally, but Patrick Ewing, Muggsy Bogues, for a kid that was like 4 feet my entire life until I got to high school. Muggsy Bogues was my guy, great movie. I still loved a lot when Charles Barkley is I think he's in like the chapel praying to get his basketball ability back. And he's like, I won't go out with Madonna anymore. And it makes sense to me. I'm like, who's Madonna? But but yeah, no, that's a great movie. And it's just, I feel like it's a perfect time capsule of just like how popular Michael Jordan was in that reach of, yes, he's a Bull, but he's got this huge superstar notoriety throughout the entire world. I'll admit, I have not seen the new Space Jam. I've heard it's not good, so I kind of steered clear. But
Well, to your point too, Justin, they kind of play off of that, MJ popularity, even when he's playing minor league ball for the Barons.
Yes.
And one of my favorite scenes is when the catcher is giving him, he's telling the pitches. So tell him not to swing and to swing.
I told you not to swing.
Yeah. And he goes back to the dugout after striking out on like 3 pitches, and everyone's like cheering him on.
Yeah.
He's like, good looking strikeout, Michael. Good.
Yeah.
You look good when you strike out.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah, Newman's in it too. Yeah.
Wayne Knight's in it too.
Yeah.
Wayne Knight. Yeah. So, Larry Bird. Yeah. I mean, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray's in it. Yeah.
And I love the fourth wall breaking. Like Bill Murray shows up in, the basketball game at the end. And I think it's like Daffy Duck's like, how did you get here? And he's like, I knew some Teamsters. They drove me down, no big deal. So, that's my number 4, Space Jam. Love that movie. Still watch it to this day. Jake, what do you got for number 3?
Yeah, I'll keep the basketball vibes going, I guess, here at number 3. This is a movie that came out, I believe it was around 2004, 2005, something in that range. So I was about 14, 15 years old when this came out. I was playing on the high school basketball team, really into basketball, into a lot of sorts of sports. It's Coach Carter, actually, with Samuel L.
Jackson.
Yeah, and it just, I don't know, it hit with me at the time. Obviously, this talks about a much different area than where I grew up, and a much tougher school, I guess you could call it. And he's trying to discipline these kids, keep them in line, still teach them basketball, still have a great basketball team, but also get their grades up and everything like that. And a lot of it hit with me at the time just because I was playing basketball, and there was some similarities in terms of what I had to do to get ready for a game, and the grades and everything that kind of went with it. So Coach Carter always hit with me at the time, and it's just kind of one of those movies that has always stuck with me. And it's really well made. It has some great lessons in it along the way as well. Well acted. I think Samuel L. Jackson does a great job as Coach Carter in that movie. So that's one that I'll throw on. Maybe not every year, but every few years I'll throw that one on, and it's very, very rewatchable for me.
Nice. I'll be honest. That is one I've not seen. Greg, Vinny, have you seen that one?
No, that's one I've heard
good things.
Bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. No, I've never seen it actually, but I mean, Samuel L. Jackson can't really go wrong.
No,
it's great. It's great. You should make time for it. I think it's on Netflix. It's on one of it's on one of the streaming services. I believe it is on Netflix. So if you make some time for it, maybe before basketball season, it's a fun watch. It's a good movie.
I'll definitely give that a watch. All right, Greg, what do you got for number 3?
I'm going to jump back to golf, but I'm going Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah,
that's nice.
My favorite Adam Sandler movie, the movie that got me into golf actually, or so it got me paying attention to it a little bit, and try to go out there and swing the golf clubs a little bit in the backyard.
Did you try to swing like Happy?
Of course I did. Yeah, that didn't really work out, but it was it's like I said, my favorite Adam Sandler movie.
Yep. It's got to be one of his best.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Or at least one of the best that like hold up over time.
Yes.
Yeah. Billy Madison was good, and then watching it now, I'm like, it's not.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
I mean, Billy Madison is right up there with that one too. But I think Happy Gilmore edges it out. Not only that, I love Christopher McDonald, who plays Shooter McGavin. I think that is one of the better Adam Sandler, quote unquote villains of his comedy movies. And of course, Apollo Creed.
Chubbs
Peterson.
What's the actor's name?
Carl Weathers.
Weathers. Thank you. He's in The Mandalorian now.
Yeah.
But I think he is. He's my favorite character of the movie. Just pretty much when he sees Happy at the batting cages, and he sees him taking the fastballs to the chest and the head, and he's like, "Cut that out, son! You're making me sick." So you're a hockey player, huh? Go give that shit up. Gonna concentrate on golf. So I mean that is just amazing.
I will admit, it wasn't until I was in college that I put 2 and 2 together that Apollo Creed was also Chubbs Peterson, and it blew my mind. Like I remember, I had to tell someone, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, did you know that these are the same characters?" And they looked at me like I was an idiot. Which, well. I never realized it for as long as that movie was on. So that was
nowadays when the kids watch Creed, you have to say, yeah, his dad is in The Mandalorian, right? So you got to make those connections.
And make those connections.
They're like, huh?
Well, that was another one. Robin, Lynn, and Chris all wrote in saying Happy Gilmore was on their list as well. So good pick, Greg.
Also, really quick too, a Bond reference for me. Mr. Larson, played by Richard Keogh, also Jaws. famous Bond.
Oh, yeah.
So there you believe that's Mr. Gilmore's,
I believe that's Mr. Gilmore's jacket.
Yeah. Just that at the end.
Oh, good. The nail comes out next week.
You can hardly tell.
Yeah, exactly.
I love his interaction with Shooter. That's 2 thus far.
Yeah.
Shooter. Oh, you can count. Good
Shooter, you forgot your 9-iron.
After he bends it there.
Run along. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, Vinny, what's your number 3?
Number 3 for me is Major League.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Major League was number 3 on my list as well.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
We can knock those out.
There we go. Yeah.
We also have, hold on, let me find it here on the list. Melissa also wrote in saying she likes Major League. Go ahead, Vinny. You can start us off. What do you like about Major League?
God, everything about it. It's just a great baseball movie. It's hilarious beginning to end. A bunch of nobodies that go into camp. I love that was it Willie Mays Hayes sneaks into camp and then they take his bed out and they put him outside, but he gets back on the team
and then he
by showing running so fast.
In his PJs with no shoes on.
Yeah.
And Wesley Snipes is like historically a slow person, so he's not actually really that fast in real life, which is also a little funny fact. They had to like manipulate the scenes and the camera and everything.
Oh, Wesley Snipes?
He's very slow.
Know that.
He's very slow. Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
That's funny.
Right? You would never have
movie.
guessed that from watching the movie.
I feel like my favorite part of that movie is Bob Uecker as the broadcaster. Just all the things he says, just a bit outside or, swearing on the air. And see, I'm sure, Jake, I'm sure you've never done that. But yeah, that whole, you can't say those words on the air.
Yes.
I think his assistant's
like, say goddamn on the air.
No one's listening. It doesn't matter, So, I love that movie. I love that character. Wild Thing. I'm not the biggest Charlie Sheen fan, but he nails that character as being kind of a scuzzy, creepy dude.
California Penal League.
Yeah, the California Penal League.
And I always love quoting that as, where guys are at now. Oh, they're probably pitching in California. Esteban Loaiza.
Yep.
Esteban Loaiza, Addison Russell, I'm sure at some point was playing there. Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot. No, it's a great movie. I love Jake Taylor as the washed up catcher, making his way back, and Serrano can't hit a curveball. There's all these little things.
They all have their things
they have their
can't
quirks.
do. So
no, great movie. My favorite, I'd say besides Bob Uecker's lines, my favorite line is when they're putting the team together. And one of the scouts says, this guy's dead. We can't invite him. And they're like, we'll cross him off the list. Like, it's no big deal. Yeah. So that would be also my number 3. All right. We're getting down to the nitty gritty now. Number 2, Jake, what is your number 2?
Yeah, number 2, I guess you could call this one kind of generic safe, but I just think this is a good movie. Remember the Titans is number 2 for me.
Oh, that's my number 2 as well.
That's your number 2? Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. So we're with each other on Remember the Titans. This is just a great movie. I mean, it taught me so much as a kid too when I first watched it. Obviously there's the whole race angle with the black players coming together with the white players and Denzel really bringing that team together and using different ways to do it, right? And you really saw how good of a coach he was, but not necessarily the coach that you might think when you think of a head coach of really any sports team, football in this instance. Ryan Gosling's in it too, which I always you're kind of forgetting about, which is kind of funny, but great movie and a movie that I really enjoyed as a kid. Like I said, taught me a lot, and I still enjoy it to this day. So for me, this is the last football movie, but there's a couple football movies that I really wanted to put that would have been probably 6 or 7 on my list. Friday Night Lights was close for me. I love that movie, and The Longest Yard, the remake.
Ooh,
that's
the remake,
just like
I do enjoy it. Yeah,
I love that's just like a fun popcorn movie for me.
Yeah,
I laugh every time I watch it. So I just wanted to give a couple honorable mentions to those. But Remember the Titans is that 2 for me.
That was definitely another one that Erica, Chris, Gina, Robin, and Gamer Groffles from Discord all wrote in saying that they like to Remember the Titans. And then I'm glad you brought up Longest Yard too, Jake. Vince, Kat, and Leafeon, the guy that wrote in earlier, Greg's Pokemon friend, also all wrote in for The Longest Yard. Both the
was that the original though, or I wonder if that was the remake.
If it was my dad, it was the original.
For your dad,
I was going to say Vince wrote in the original.
For Kat and Leafeon, it was the newer one. They were big fans. So, Vinny, what do you want to say about Remember the Titans?
I just remember watching that, I think, a lot over the summer because, you said Erica liked that, and she what was her, who did she like on that movie? It was Bertier. She had a crush on Bertier, Which, sorry, Justin, you don't.
I was going to say
that
that must be why she married me. I'm just like,
yeah, right. You look just like him.
Just like him. Linebacker, Studley guy. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a huge cast if you go back and look at all the characters and all the actors that were in it, but they are all younger at the time, so they hadn't made it kind of big. But Petey Jones, I still love it when he's got his hand raised up in the air and Denzel goes in there and he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I mean, he just embarrasses in front of everybody. It was great.
That was a movie when I taught 8th grade history for a couple of years, when we would get to the section about the 60s and segregation.
Yeah.
And that was one, like, obviously it's a football movie first and foremost, but like Jake said, there's so much good stuff in the periphery with, the racism and the integration of the schools that we would show it. And a lot of the kids had never seen it before, which was crazy to me. But I mean, obviously different of a little bit of an age gap there, but it's such a good, strong movie, a Disney movie, no less. Like they nailed it, right? So yeah. That's good. Excellent pick for both you guys. All right, Greg, number 2.
So two and one were close for me, but I'm going to give number 2 to Major League.
Okay,
what you guys had as your number 3, just for all the reasons you guys mentioned too. I think my favorite part of the movie is spring training, when they're all still bums or whatever. And I think my favorite scene of the movie or section of the movie is when they're all showing up to spring training, when you see Willie Mays Hayes just drive up and, Vaughn shows up on the back of the motorcycle. They're all looking at him, just staring like, what the hell's going on? Pepper Lee just going, look at this fucking guy. And, they're all just kind of commenting, Dorn shows up and he's like, yeah, it still hits the ball. Just can't field it. They signed all these guys and they just all listing what they can't do anymore or something like that.
Didn't Dorn show up with his golf clubs?
Showed up with his golf club. Yeah. Didn't show up with one single bat or
he's
mitt
got the
or
sweater
anything.
vest on. Yeah,
exactly. And it is a pretty. The second one kind of turns more slapstick. I mean, the first one still had Jake's backstory. Him trying to, win back the love of his life, Rene Russo's character Lynn, and also kind of explored, Charlie Sheen a little bit. They do a little more in the second one, but there's a good story behind it, too. There's actually a love story kind of mixed in with that, and there's a story, to overcome the evil owner too. I know they kind of repeat that in the second one, but there is a I kind of like when there's when they all kind of band together for the common, the common thing to take down the owner. That's what they find their thing to win. So I want to say one of my, I don't know if underrated is the right word, but James Gammon is Lou Brown, the manager.
Oh,
and that voice is just fantastic. It's just kind of like what you kind of want your baseball coach, your manager to be. You kind of want him to be that guy, nice catch, Hayes, don't ever fucking do it again. That's
what I pictured Tony's like.
That's Tony La Russa,
I think I'd rather have Lou Brown as the manager, but
I think when they offer him the job, doesn't he say, I don't know, I gotta go see a guy about some car parts or something?
Yeah, well, White got the other guy in the line about some white walls, so just fantastic. Fantastic, but Bob Uecker. I mean, the whole cast is just phenomenal in that. So
excellent. All right, this is it, the final round. Jake, what is your number 1 sports movie of all time?
Well, I think Billy Bob Thornton's my favorite manager, by the way. We're talking about baseball. It's not Bad News Bears. That's not number 1 on my list. But I just when you were talking about baseball managers, I just kind of thought of that performance. I don't know. I'm just a sucker for Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh yeah.
I do like, and I did mention Friday Night Lights as well. I thought he was great in that. But number 1 for me has already been brought up. We already discussed it. It's Happy Gilmore. There's It was easy for me to put Happy Gilmore at 1. It's probably not only my favorite sports movie. It's probably just like my favorite movie. I watch it at least once a year. Definitely more than that. But me and my buddies that all grew up together, we all golf together. It's the one movie we quote constantly. Like if we're on the, you probably get sick of it after a while, but just the little quotes, even the quotes that like aren't the big quotes from the movies, but end up, kind of just being the most funny quotes. Like, when he's playing with Shooter at the end in the tournament and he's starting to actually play well, he's starting to figure out the short game and he's starting to putt and he's like, Shooter's like, here's a free lesson, and just like clips it right onto the green. We say that every time we're about to hit like a good shot. And there's just so many little funny quotes throughout that movie that I think just make it what it is. And it is just a good movie too, start to finish. It's got a good story, but yeah, it's Happy Gilmore for me. And I know we've already discussed it, but it was an easy number one choice.
There is to this day, both my sister and myself, I mean, we watched that movie so many times growing up. Like anytime someone doesn't take us seriously or doesn't agree with what we're saying, what do I know? I'm just a doctor, and walking away, after he gets hit, screw this, I got to play. Yeah. I mean, like our parents even know that phrase now. And I mean, they've seen Happy Gilmore before, but obviously we've kind of, rammed it home with how many times we say that whenever we get together. So that was my number 2. I forgot to tell you guys that was my number 2. So
okay, perfect. I thought we skipped you for number 3.
Yeah. And when you talk about Shooter too, he is one of my favorite movie villains. I think he makes that movie as good as like Adam Sandler is as Happy Gilmore and the Chubbs, and there's a bunch of great characters. Like that movie is nothing without Shooter McGavin. He is just awesome. Sure, yeah. The scene where he's smoking the cigar after a win and they're interviewing him. They're like, "What'd you think of Happy Gilmore today?" He's like, "Oh yeah. Where'd he finish? Dead last? Yeah. He had a great.
He had a good guys. Yeah." Jake, when you said the line, "Here's a free lesson," I think it's soon after that. One of my favorite lines from Adam Sandler that he says to Shooter is, "You know what the pathetic thing is? You've been doing this your whole life." I'm there for that line all the time. That is just that just lands so perfectly.
Oh, somebody's closer.
That one too. That was the other one. Yeah.
Oh man, see now I want to go back and watch all these now. I'm not going to end up going to sleep tonight. All right. Greg, you're number 1. I know what it is because we'll get into that in a second. But Greg, go ahead. What's your number 1?
I'm going hockey here, guys. It's Slapshot. I love that, and I wish I could do quotes on it, but they're just not. They're
not appropriate.
Near socially acceptable anymore. But I saw that movie at an age where I should have not have seen that movie. But thank you, Dad, for showing me that movie. I saw it. He showed it. We had the VHS tape, and he showed it to me on New Year's Eve, and we watched it together. And it's like one of my it's just one of my favorite memories. I mean, it's just that movie. I could not believe the swearing in that movie.
Oh yeah,
it's like
another language.
Oh yeah, I was it before I saw anything like from Scorsese or anything like that. I already seen Paul Newman in The Sting. I already knew. I already seen a couple of George Roy Hill movies, and some of the dramatic stuff went over my head. But just watching it as an adult is just I think just a real simple but perfectly done story about a minor league hockey team trying to overcome losing, worried about being disbanded. I mean, these guys. Now watching as an adult, I can see these guys in the Federal League not having this is the only life they know other than Ned Braden who went to college. But you see Johnny Upton, that line, "Fucking Chrysler plant, here I come." That line, probably land. That was probably like a real thing, back then or whatever, because that was a life they had pretty much going. I will say too, one of the I don't know the best character, but definitely one of the top characters is Lily Braden, played by Lindsay Krause. I mean, her character is a lot deeper than we may think what the face value is of the movie. But it's just I think that's kind of George Roy Hill's directing kind of standing out, because he did do some more dramatic pieces, but that mixed in with the comedy. And just the cursing, the language, the dialogue, I think it's just like the perfect mold of everything to kind of accompany, a good hockey movie. So
I still remember, Greg, I think it was, so Greg's wife and my wife are sisters, and that's how this all got started. I remember one of the first times she brought you around, somehow Slapshot came up. Maybe we were talking about how I was playing in a men's league and stuff. And we just started quoting lines, and I'm like, oh, okay, I this guy's not bad. We can keep this guy around.
Yeah, I know the movie like the back of my hand. So
and then the fact that when it was Vinny's wedding, who is both of our wives' brother, when it was his wedding, after the wedding was over, we went to the hotel room, ordered a bunch of pizza, and for some reason we watched Slapshot. I don't know why. And we just literally recited the whole movie while our wives went to bed, because they're like, "You two are idiots. You need to go to sleep." So. It's an awesome movie. That was one of my honorable mentions. Not in my top 5, but definitely an honorable mention. I'm trying to think. Vince and Rose also wrote in saying that was one of their favorites. So, good pick. There's so much, and I know a while back we got to interview Dave Hansen, one of the Hansen brothers. And
yes, you did.
Couldn't be a nicer guy. Said Paul Newman was one of the nicest guys he had ever met. So supportive of the players that were acting or attempting to act, which just made me appreciate the movie that much more. So good stuff. Good pick, Greg. Vinny, number
Justin,
1.
I'm actually shocked that you didn't have Slapshot as your number 1.
No, I got something else. I got something else in store for number 1.
Shocked, but my number 1 is a golf movie.
Oh.
It's not Happy Gilmore, but it is Caddyshack.
Yeah, Caddyshack.
Yeah.
I'm glad someone has it. Nice.
That is absolutely. Anytime Rodney Dangerfield's in a scene, it's absolutely hilarious. I quote that movie a lot. Yep. Anytime there's a kid swimming in a pool, I always want to throw a baby Ruth in. See if anybody freaks out or throw it in and have them freak out, and then pull the Bill Murray and eat it, sniff it and eat in front of the kids and have them freak out even more. It's just a hilarious movie. The perfect snobs versus slobs type of movie. You're always rooting for the slobs in it. Fun fact that Cindy Morgan, who played Lacey Underall, she actually was a meteorologist in Rockford, Illinois, born in Chicago, Illinois.
Wow.
And was a meteorologist in Rockford. So
very cool.
Little fun fact there for Illinois.
There we go.
Hey, there's only a few good things that come out of Illinois.
Yeah, we'll take what we
can get.
Talk about a rewatchable movie. Talk about a rewatchable movie.
Oh, yeah. Anytime, any place. Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Great pick, Vinny. I haven't seen Caddyshack in probably a decade. It's been a while.
I think we got a lot of movies to watch together.
We do. Well, next family party, we all get together. We're just gonna, we'll sit and watch the movie. Someone also have to watch all the kids at this point. So
yeah.
All right. My number 1, and then if you want, we can just run through a few others people wrote in. We can give a yay or nay if you guys agree. My number 1, this is probably pretty obvious. The Mighty Ducks, the original.
Oh, okay.
I will hold on. I got
just the first one.
Got my hat on. Got my Mighty Ducks hat on.
There it is.
It works
and the
really
bill's
well.
not too long either.
No. The bill is not long. It works really well for an audio podcast. So I think for me, it's pure nostalgia. I still remember going to the theater I saw it in. I remember, I think that came out in 92. I would have been 5. I still remember getting home from that movie theater and being like, all right, I want to learn to skate. I want to play hockey. So the next day, my parents signed me up for learn to skate classes. We did those at the ice rink. And then after that, it was, learn to play hockey classes. I had all my equipment, was playing, in, what would that be? Pee Wee at that point. And obviously that's kind of stuck with me, right? I mean, obviously taking some years off and then, playing a little bit in high school, playing in men's leagues with my dad, playing in men's leagues now. Not saying I'm any good, because if I was, I wouldn't be playing in men's leagues, right? But it stuck with me, and it's one of those things, I can always go back and watch it. For the longest time, I always thought D2 was better, but I've kind of come around lately to going back to the original as my favorite. I think Coach O'Reilly is what seals the deal for me. If you can't win big, don't. No, I should know this. Winning's not worth. Greg, say it. I'm drawing a blank here.
Not worth winning if you can't win big.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Win.
And the new Disney show, I'm indifferent. I know we had one of the guys that do a Mighty Duck podcast on to talk about it a couple months ago, and they were a little bit higher on it than us. But that first one, it's cheesy, it's silly. Is it a great representation of ice hockey? Probably not. But for me, it's definitely got the special place in my heart.
If it got you into hockey, then what
it
more?
Did. It was
what can it do then?
It was like Mighty Ducks and getting NHL 94 on Sega Genesis combined. We built a net out of PVC pipe that summer, playing street hockey, and then it was ice hockey in the winter and all that. So that was
I would say it set out to do what it meant to do.
Yep. Disney got me. They got me. So.
Well, Justin, too, speaking of men's league, because that movie really resonated with everybody my age as well. So I didn't see it in theaters, but it was out on VHS and everything like that by the time I was old enough to really watch it and take it in. So everybody who grew up in the 90s, I was born in 91. So everybody around my age, really grew up with that movie. Right. So we had that kind of same nostalgia that you did. And my men's league team that I still play on now, 1 year we decided to all do Ducks jerseys. Like
That's awesome.
we got the jerseys, but we used the names of all the players on the team. So everybody kind of got, a different player. Someone was Conway. So, we had the Banks, we had Goldberg.
Who did you have, Jake?
I got Banks. We all tried to decide.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, the best player on the team.
I was going to say, Jake, you must be a goal scorer then, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, kind of the skilled guy, whatever it was. They wanted me to be Banks, but I felt very uncomfortable wearing number 99. I felt really, I could not, as someone that grew up as a Canadian hockey fan and Gretzky and everything like that, I felt
high
weird
stick,
putting on.
Yeah.
I'm like, I shouldn't be putting on the number 99. It's like sacrilegious or something, right? But I think everybody understood that it was part of the bit of the Ducks jersey. Like someone had to wear 99, someone had to wear Banks. So I was like, all right, I'll do it for the 1 year. But I felt uncomfortable wearing that number because it's awesome. Like retired in all of hockey.
Oh yeah, and Jake, I don't know how it is in the Canadian men's leagues, but I feel like at least down here near Chicago, like anyone that wears 99, you
get chirped.
Yeah,
you're getting chirped.
You're getting chirped, and they usually have like the tinted visor. They have like the most.
You better be good. You better at least be good.
Yeah, because if you're kind of you got the bended knees or you're bending a little bit, you're gonna get chirped a lot. So that's that was my pick. Real quick, if you guys don't mind hanging on for 5 minutes, I'll just run through a couple that people wrote in. Give me a yay or nay if you agree. All right, we got Mighty Ducks 2 was from Robin. I would agree. That was on my honorable mention.
Yep.
Definitely good. And Mighty Ducks 3, I want nothing to do with. I don't like that movie at all.
I'll stick up for Mighty Ducks 3 a little.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Justin.
That's the varsity team, right?
Yeah.
It has some good moments. It has some fun.
It has moments, but it's like, man, you go from being the gold medal winner of the junior Goodwill Games to you can't beat the junior varsity, or you can't beat the varsity team, But anyway, I digress. Another one. This was from Gina. She wrote in and said The Replacements. How do you guys feel about Keanu Reeves in football?
I had that on an honorable mention.
Good movie. That's another one I could sit down and watch. This was one my mom recommended, and I totally forgot. I could probably quote this movie. It takes place in Chicago, and also another Keanu Reeves joint, Hardball. Any Hardball fans?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
Forgot about that one.
You could add my wife to that list too, because she loves
movie.
Hardball. So that's a good one.
One of my friends in high school, he lived a little bit further away. His sister went to high school with one of the players because he was from the south suburbs. So all right, here's another one. One of my friends has begged me to watch this for 10-15 years and I refused. That is The Cutting Edge. Any fans of The Cutting Edge?
Never heard of it.
That is I believe it's a figure skater meets a hockey player and she teaches him how to figure skate. So that was Melissa and Sarah wrote in and said that one. I have still never seen that.
So it's like the opposite Tammy Duncan story, right?
Yeah.
The figure skater teach you how to play hockey, right?
Yes, that's pretty much it. Another one. This is more of a more recent one. Gina and Lisa wrote in on this one. I would agree with this. What about Goon?
That's my honorable mention right there. I love Goon.
If you would have told me, 15 years ago, Stifler would be a hockey player in a movie, I never would have believed
He got huge for that movie too.
He was jacked. Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Two rules: don't touch my Percocets, and do you have a Percocet? That's probably my favorite line.
It's such a silly. And I love the fact that the goal, like you said, that goal line from the goalie is such a space cadet. Like that's how most goalies are. There's something unhinged about them. I
actually went to the premiere of Goon 2.
Oh, wow.
After it went out. Yeah, I got tickets to the premiere through Jay Baruchel, who created that movie. It was a blast, man. It was so fun to be in there with everybody that kind of put those movies together. Those are fun popcorn movies.
You nailed it. Brian's Song, Gina wrote in. I will admit I'm a bad Chicago Bears fan. I have never seen Brian's Song. Have you guys seen?
I was going to ask you and Craig about that. I feel like if you live in Chicago, you're shown that like in kindergarten or something like that.
Yeah, it's a sad movie, but it's a very good movie.
It's about Brian Piccolo, right? And Gail Sayers.
Yeah, James Caan, Billy D. Williams. It is a good movie. Yeah.
We got The Blind Side from Lynn and Robin. Any Blind Side fans in here?
I liked it.
It's okay.
I enjoyed it. It's not a movie I rewatched after though. I think I saw it in theaters and I've never seen it again, but I did enjoy it at the time.
Here's one I have seen, I think maybe once. This would have been right around probably I was in middle school at this point. Chris, John, and D Mall from Discord wrote in, and that was Varsity Blues. Any Varsity Blues fans?
That's John Voight, right?
Yes, it is.
That one, I saw that one a couple times.
I believe the line was, "I don't want your life." I believe that's my best James Vanderbeek impression right there. So
there you go.
Chris wrote in, "White Men Can't Jump." How do you guys feel about White Men Can't Jump?
Never saw it.
Never. I've seen it once.
I've seen it once. Yeah.
Okay.
Once. Yeah.
early 90s. It's got that 90s flavor. This is one, Vinny, I think your dad wrote in. This was from Vince and Margie. That is Rudy.
Margie.
Rudy. Any Rudy fans?
I liked Rudy.
Yeah, I like Rudy.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Vinny, I think I'm going to kill your dad when I say this. I have never seen
I'm not
Rudy.
a Sean Astin
You've never
guy.
seen it?
No.
Yeah.
Sean Astin. I like
my.
Sean Astin. I've just never seen Rudy.
You're
I've
a
never-
Notre Dame
the-
fan,
the-
Justin, aren't you?
I go back and forth.
The music in the movie is
phenomenal.
terrific. The
Yes.
score is amazing. So Rudy's okay.
This is another one I wanted to see. Margie wrote in. This is Jackie Robinson. You guys see the new Jackie Robinson movie?
Yes.
I've heard that's really good.
Wait, is that 42?
42?
I think
Yeah.
it's 42. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Chadwick?
good.
That was good.
That
Yeah,
was really
with Black
good.
Panther.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
yeah.
That was a great movie.
Yeah,
I really like that movie.
Harrison Ford was awful in it, though.
Yeah.
I did not like his acting in it. Jackie, you're gonna play ball.
You're gonna play ball. Yeah, that's a good. That's a good point.
Branch Rickey, right? Was he Branch
Yeah.
Rickey? Okay. This was one. I don't think we mentioned this one. This had the most emails. Lynn, Robin, Vince, Melissa, Brenda, Kat, and Aegis wrote in and said "Field of Dreams."
Aegis.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Good movie. I will admit,
We
the first
weren't
time I
big
saw
on.
it-
Yeah, we weren't big on that one last time. When we brought up the Field of Dreams game. I mean, Field of Dreams is fine, but it's just not one I go back to.
That was it. I remember the first time I saw it was actually only about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was totally different than what I expected. That whole not sci-fi vibe, but that kind of like in the past, but not with the doctor that was still alive, and he was somehow visiting Kevin Costner and
the supernatural.
Thank you.
It,
yeah. So. Good movie. I'm excited. I'm more excited for the Cubs Field of Dreams game next season.
I liked this year's game better than the movie. That White Sox game. That was
for
blast.
sure.
That was incredible.
Fun.
That was incredible. I'm hoping they kind of keep that going like a winter classic. I think that'll be good. As long as they don't overdo it. That would be my recommendation. Don't do 6 or 7 winter classics in 1 year. But Miracle from Christie and Gamer Gruffles. Miracle's a great movie.
Great movie.
I could watch that. Kurt Russell as Herb Brooks is phenomenal. I love the way they splice in some of the original footage at the end when they're playing Russia or Soviet Union, I should say. Glenn wrote in Any Given Sunday. Any fan?
I've actually never seen Any Given
Never
Sunday.
saw it either.
Love it.
I've never seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love Al Pacino.
I've heard it's good. Yeah.
We also got from Christy and Erica, Rookie of the Year. Any Rookie of the Year fans? It's a good one. John Candy, obviously, all the Cubs.
It's like Major League Light. John Candy is the announcer compared to Bob Uecker.
I do love the fact that I believe is it Thomas Ian Happ plays the kid that's the pitcher. He was also in
Thomas Ian Nichols. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Ian Happ.
Ian Happ is a baseball player. Sorry. I like that he's kind of rocking that whole thing. Like he still goes back to Wrigley once a year, sings the 7th inning stretch, has his band perform, and he kind of plays into that whole role still, which is cool. Gina and Kat wrote in and said Hoosiers. I will admit I've never seen Hoosiers. I know it's a big Indiana basketball movie, but all right. Chris and Kat also wrote in and said, Bend It Like Beckham. Vinny, you're a soccer player.
Never saw it.
No? I know I asked Erica. I know Erica was a big soccer player growing up. She did not like that movie at all, she said. This is a recent addition, if you consider wrestling a sport or more of an entertainment, but Fighting with My Family, Nico and Kat wrote in and said they really enjoyed that. I think that's the one with, I want to say her name is Paige, and it's her story about becoming a wrestler from
I think so, yeah.
Scotland or Ireland, maybe. I haven't watched.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't watched wrestling
never heard of it
since about 2000, so I'm a little.
It was on Netflix, wasn't it, or something?
It might have been.
Yeah.
This is a controversial one. I'll be curious. We'll see what you guys say. Nico wrote in and said Jerry Maguire. What do you guys think about Jerry Maguire?
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I like that movie. Is weird as soap opera as it is at times, but I love the the agent management piece there.
Yeah.
Is good. Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
Yeah.
You had me at hello. All right. Moving on. The last recommendation we got from Erica and Joran, and I know Erica praises this movie. She made me watch it with her when we started dating. And that is Basketball. Basketball fans. It was okay. It was
fun. It was fun.
Yeah. It was a popcorn movie. Am I a devoted fan? No. But I think I would rather watch South Park than basketball again. But that's just me. So that does it. First of all, Jake, thank you so much for tagging along. I know we're running a little bit long, so I know it's on the East Coast here for you. It's a little bit later, so I apologize. But You are welcome back anytime. If there's any more lists you want to make with us, please feel free to come back. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, I loved it, boys. Thanks for having me. Happy to stay up late with you guys. And yeah, let me know if you want me to come back on anytime. Love chatting movies, love chatting baseball, and anything you want. So this was a blast. Really had a good time.
Is there anything, obviously I know SiriusXM NHL, anything else you want to plug, or if you just want to tell people when to listen to you guys on XM or anything like that?
Yeah, well, things are changing pretty quickly, obviously, with the season coming up here pretty shortly in a few weeks. So we've been doing the 3 to 6 show, the afternoon show, myself and Boomer, sort of filling in for the guys that are away for the summer. But we'll go back to our normal slot right before the season starts, about a week before the season. So I'll be on 1 to 3 Eastern time. You can catch me live on demand as well. The show's always up in podcast form after as well. So starting right before the season, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 Eastern time, talking hockey. So get your Blackhawks coverage if you want. Could be a fun year. Blackhawks are at least intriguing going into this year. Could go one of two ways. But they'll be fun to watch.
My excitement hasn't tapered off yet at this point, so we'll take that. They
should be fun.
If you're a hockey fan, I highly recommend. That is one of the sole reasons I still subscribe to XM. Check them out. Even if you're not a hockey fan, the banter and the discussion between Boomer and Jake is awesome. You just sit there and listen. You'd swear you were just sitting at a bar talking to some people about hockey and stuff that they enjoy. So check that out. Vinny, you got anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
I'm going to shoot out 2 honorable mentions, Kingpin and Talladega Nights.
Oh,
I was going to bring up Talladega Nights, but
yeah, that's good.
I don't know what to do with my hands. Those are yeah. And then they slowly pull them down. Yeah, the character arc between Ricky Bobby and the Magic Man, John C. Reilly, is
Cal Naughton Jr.
Yeah, Cal Naughton Jr. Thank you. Is just awesome. Those are good honorable mentions, Vinny. Greg, you got some good stuff to plug, so please plug away. What do you got for us?
Well, since you brought up a Will Ferrell movie, Vinny, I'm going to also give a shout to Blades of Glory. I know not a lot of people like that movie. Actually, I think that movie's a lot of fun. And
I think it's great.
Figure skating.
I'm with you on that.
I enjoy the hell out of that movie.
John Hader, man, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, that was good. I haven't seen that one forever. I gotta check that one out again. That's all I had. But Jake, thanks again.
That's all. Wait, hold on, Greg. That's all you got? That's all you got?
What did you want me to
banter?
Greg is.
Is that what you wanted me to plug?
Yes,
I was gonna do that. I was gonna thank. I wanted to thank Jake first, and then I was gonna say you can't.
We got to plug that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Jake comes first. So, thank you, Jake, for coming on again. We really appreciate it. Really quick though, I wanted to plug a interview podcast I was on. I was on a podcast called Bond and Banter with the amazing Agent Lugo from JBR. That's Jack Lugo, a big Mets fan, by the way, friend of the Baseball and Whatever podcast. We read his comments earlier in the show. I was a guest on his podcast, his most recent one. I followed up I was a second guest on that behind Willard White from Diamonds Are Forever. So if you want to hear me make an ass out of myself on a different podcast other than Baseball and Whatever, go check out Bond and Banter, Willard White and Greg Probst. And we just talk, we talk a little James Bond. We talk some baseball too. Basically the two subjects that I know minimal things about, but that's where my intelligence lies. So it was a lot of fun. I encourage it. Definitely check out his stuff. But like I said, I had a blast doing it, and go check it out, give it a listen. Tell me what you think. So I know Vinny and Justin, you guys,
we listened to it. Yeah, I listened to it on my driving to work, and that's why I thought you were being bashful. I thought you weren't gonna say anything, so I wanted to call you out. If you are,
if I didn't say anything, I know you. I know you were going to say something. So.
Yeah, is somebody who doesn't know anything about James Bond besides GoldenEye 64 for Nintendo 64. it was awesome. It was great to listen, great to hear some of the trivia about James Bond, and then also the way that you and Jack weaved in some baseball talk, some football talk. There's a lot of good stuff. So please check that out. Bond and Banter with Jack Lugo. The only other thing is Vinny, Greg, and I during the week we wrote up for the 3 Spot, which is a baseball website. They asked us to rank some, I believe it was high A Central League, minor league baseball logos, and they're having like a minor league baseball draft. So they had a spreadsheet. We filled it out. We ranked some different logos, some high, some low, some were awful. The Dayton Dragons. I'm looking at you. That is a disturbing logo. A D with the tail.
Makes you feel sick inside, doesn't it?
It did. But that is all I got. That's all we got. So check them out. I believe they are the3spot.com. They also are on Twitter at the 3spot. You can follow Jake at AHN4 on Twitter. I get that right, Jake?
You did.
Okay, perfect. You can follow us on Twitter at Baseball and What. If you want to email us, we are at baseballandwhatever@gmail.com and facebook.com/baseballandwhatever. And if you'd rather see our beautiful faces instead of listening to the audio, go to YouTube, search Baseball and Whatever, and you will see our wonderful mugs. So that's all I got. Jake, thanks a ton. Vinny, thank you so much. And Greg, thanks a ton. We will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend and take care.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.